Hello everyone. So this presentation is about proving the lower bound of element distinctness problem. This for course COT 5405 under Dr. Sharma Tankachan. So the element distinctness problem is about finding if all n elements in a given array are unique. That is distinct. So if all elements in the array are distinct, that is no two elements are the same, then we can say yes or else we can say no. So this is the addition problem. So we can use comparison as a model of computation. Comparison can be done in constant time for two elements. If either the element is less than or equal to the other element, or if element is greater than or equal to the other element, if they are equal, that means two elements are the same, we can simply say it is a no, or else we can simply say it is an S. So this can be solved by sorting the array. Sorting, the best sorting algorithm takes order of n log n time, so this can be solved in order of n log n time, and we need to prove that the lower bound is order of n log n and no algorithm can do any better than n log n. We need at least n log n time to prove that all elements in the array are distinct. So the straightforward solution would be comparison of each element with the rest of the elements in the array. This would take at least n square time. We will reduce the number of comparisons by sorting the array so that if there are any same elements, they will come just next to each other. So we can simply compare the adjacent elements, like one first element with the second element with the third element. So we can compare the adjacent elements, and we can say yes if no two elements are the same. We will be like no if there are same elements. So to prove the lower bound, I'm going to prove the lower bound for the sorting, that at least sorting takes at least n log n time, and we need at least n minus 1 comparisons to show that all elements are distinct. So I'm going to do it in two steps. Together I'm going to say that at least I need n log n time for element distinctness problem. So any comparison based sorting algorithms, we just take the binary tree with nodes where we compare two elements. If it's an S, the relation tree will move on one side. If it's a no, it will go on the other side. So we just execute from root node to the leaf node, and in the end of the tree we get the leaf nodes, right? So that will be our answer. So leaf nodes hold the result for us. So we need to prove that this takes at least n log n time. So here I will explain the whole process using a small example of sorting three elements using an addition tree. I'll take first two elements, compare them with each other. If the computation is said to be an S, so I'll just compare the second element with the third element. If it is said to be an S again, so I'll give the sorted order like first element is smaller than the second element is smaller than the third element. So this is the first sorted order. So if it is a no here, then I have to compare the first element with the third element again. So depending on the yes or no of the computation, I just give two sorted orders again. So similarly, I just give the decision to be an yes or no of each node. Depending on that, I get different sorted orders. So different permutations. So I got like 6 permutations. Sorry. So I got 6 permutations for 3 nodes. So the height of the tree is tree. The maximum number of nodes possible for this tree can be 2 power h, that is 8. So if there is a node here, then there will be like other 2 nodes coming out of this. So the maximum number of nodes possible will be 8. So the maximum number of possible is 8, but the maximum we got only 6. So this is the observations from this tree. So from the previous observations, I just wrote them down. Here we can simply say that 2 power h is greater than or equal to n factorial. That is, we got 8 as the maximum number of nodes in the previous problem for n is equal to 3, and we got 6 number of possible nodes. So number of leaves or 6. So the number of possible nodes are 8, but we got only 6. So we just derive at this generalization that 2 power h is greater or equal to n factorial. Here I'm solving for the value of h. I took logarithms on both sides, and then I just rewrote this for as a summation function. I took two summations from, I just divided summation into half, and then clearly this value is greater than this value, so I just wrote greater or equal to. this summation will run from n by 2 to n for log n by 2 value. So here I just wrote n by 2 log, so this will run for n by 2 times, so n by 2 log n by 2, h is equal to at least n log n. So to go from the root to leaf, we need to go through all the tree. For at least in the worst case, to reach the last possible leaf node, we need to go to the height of the tree, which is n log n. So at least we need n log n comparisons in the worst case for any comparison based sorting algorithm. Here in the second step, I'm just showing that we need at least n minus 1 comparisons after the sorting. After sorting, we need to compare the adjacent elements. So we need at least n minus 1 comparisons for this. To show that, I just before proposing the Laue-Brown, I just gave the brute force approach for this entire list. So n minus 1 comparisons. So I'm trying to prove it can't get any better. So I just took n minus 2 comparisons, just assuming that we can do this in n minus 2 comparisons using an algorithm A which exists. I'm assuming so. So I'm just taking an array X which have elements xi is equal to 2i for I is equal to 1 to n. So I'm assuming that all elements in this are unique. So first I'll run the algorithm A on input x. So it will take only n minus 2 comparisons because I'm taking xi is equal to 2i. So there is at least one element left out which is not compared to its next element. So first I'll find that element which is not compared to its next element, and then I will set xi is equal x of I plus 1 is equal to 2i. So x of I plus 1. Earlier it was x of I is equal to 2i. Now it is x of I plus 1. So x of I plus 1 is equal to 2i. Earlier when xi is equal to 2i, if I increment x of I plus 1, it will be like 2 of I plus 1. That is what I wrote here. So if I rerun the algorithm will give me the same output as it gave me when I run for this particular argument. It will give me the same output, which is not correct. So simply I can say that there cannot exist any correct comparison based algorithm which can find duplicates. That duplicates the same of repetition, right? So we need at least n minus 1 comparisons to say show that there are no duplicates in the sorted array. So there's a research paper given as a reference. So there they are defining 2 tree computation models. Out of them, one is algebraic computational tree T of n. So they're defining T of n. So it has 2 kinds of internal nodes. It's 2 kinds of internal nodes. So in that, first computational nodes, they're defining it as V, are of out degree 1. So they are labeling those nodes in the form of instruction. They're defining the instruction f of v tends to a some degree b. Okay, so they are defining this function as this belongs to plus minus. So they're just giving some basic computations. So it can be anything. So they are just labeling the v nodes as this function. So here they're defining a and b may be the real numbers, real constant, that is xi or fu, and u is an ancestor of v. Comparison nodes v, and then there is a second type of node. This is the first type of node they are defining with this instruction. And the second type of node, it has the out degree 3. So earlier it was only of out degree 1. So here the out degree is 3. It is labeled by xi or fu. Similarly, u ancestral of v, ancestor of v, and here the outgoing edges are plus, minus, and 0. So every node they are making some computations. If it's a plus, it's the tree goes on the one side, the addition goes on the other side of negative, and on the 0 it comes on the third edge. So this is what they define the algebraic computational tree T of n with two types of nodes. And now branching is occurring by comparison of nodes, whether if it is a positive or negative. So if it's a positive, it goes on the other side. So here, this is how branching is occurring. Here we are assuming that there is no zero division. We are eliminating this. It will be like a positive or a negative. So this is how they define the tree model T of n. Now they are just giving that for this model of tree, the height is again order of n log n. They're defining the height of n log n. So for this element distinctness problem, they are sorting either they are defining two methods for this particular tree T of n. So they are either sorting and comparing the adjacent elements just like before, or they are doing a different type of computation like pi I not equal to j xi minus xj. So this is what they are defining. This is how they are computing. So this is what here it's so this is what they are doing. Basically what they are trying to do is they are getting the difference of two elements from all the array and they are multiplying the differences. So this is the computation they are doing, algebraic computational tree. So they are getting the difference of two elements and then they are multiplying their products, multiplying the differences. Okay, so multiplying the differences. So it's like difference of two numbers here, difference of another two numbers here multiplied by, and so on. It keeps going. If any of the difference is zero, the whole product will be zero. That means there are at least one duplicate in the given array. That means the elements are not distinct. There's at least one similar element, one repetition. If the product is not equal to 0, that means the elements are distinct. We can simply say yes in this case. We can simply say no in this case. So for this tree, they are defining the RAM restrictions. They are proposing the RAM to be unrestricted, at least for arithmetic operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication. All these things can be cost and unit cost. So they are using the unrestricted RAM for indirect addressing, which makes this problem all important. So this unrestricted RAM specification is very important to solve this element distinctness problem. So this is what I understood from the research paper. I really like this approach from all of the different types of computations they did. So I will. So till this point it's all good. We did the sorting, we did n-1 comparisons, we found how we can solve element distinctness problem. But something we missed is we need the outcome in the form of yes or no, which means the tree should have only two leaves, yes or no, which means the height of the tree will be only 1, which is very small, and we need for n elements. But the outcome should be yes or no. So we are going to extend the solution to n factorial leaves, from 2 leaves to n factorial leaves, but all of them giving s outcome. So there will be n factorial leaves in the tree T. There will be n factorial leaves, all of them giving s answers. From this, if there are n factorial leaves, we need at least n log n time from the sorting proof. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to extend to n factorial leaves? So I'm going to interpret an n-dimensional space and a n-dimensional point x is equal to x1, x2 and so on, xn is the first coordinate, second coordinate and the nth coordinate till it is an n-dimensional point in an n-dimensional space. So from this I am going to make 3 claims and prove that the T of n required for element distinctness problem will be at least n log n. So here we will be using n-dimensional geometry. So these are the 3 claims which I'll be using to prove that we need at least n log n time. So the first claim will be this one. So here I'm defining a region R of L. So it will have all the set of xi values, set of all input instances. These are inputs, we are giving the input instances. All as input instances which should reach the leaf node L, that is giving as output. So all these instances reaching the leaf node L will be inside the region R of L. So my first claim should be that R of L is connected. I have to prove that R of L is connected. So what are these input instances? I am defining this n-dimensional point with all these x1, x2 and so on, xn, right? So I am going to define each instance. For each instance which will reach the leaf node L will belong to region R of L. So this is my first claim. My second claim. So there is a point x with again another n-dimensional point with x, and y is the permutation of x. So it will have another y1, y2 and so on, yn. So these are 2 points. I have to show that x and y should reach different s leaves. That means this will reach a leaf L1 which will give an s, and y will reach L2 which will give an s again. So if I prove this, if I show that x and y reach 2 different leaves, then I can show z which can reach L3 s. So this can be extended to n factorial leaves. So basically I'm trying to show that there are more than one s leaf. More than one. From this, once I prove that there are n factorial leaves, from that I can simply prove that the number of s leaves should be greater or equal to n factorial. Then the time taken for that will be at least n log n from the sorting algorithm, sorting proof we did. So these are the 3 claims. Using this I will be proving the minimum time needed is n log n. So I'm reducing the n-dimensional space to 2-dimensional space to make the problem easier, to make the understanding easier. So in this 2-dimensional space, I will pick up any point from this space and I will move from that. I will just give the input instance. The input instance will be any point from this space and it will move towards the leaf node L. So for this input instances is why I am interpreting this space. So here I am claiming that all the points on this diagonal are no instances. Why? Because what are the points that lie on this diagonal? It will be simply x1 is equal to x2. All the points, all the x1 coordinate will be same as x2 coordinate. When these both are the same, the elements can't be distinct. So I am just claiming all these elements are no instances. Excluding this, any point in this particular region, in the shaded region S, can be used for input instances. So this is the space I'm claiming. So from this is where I will be taking the points to go to the tree. I'm also restricting this space to unit n cube. Here I just took a two plane for the easier understanding, but I'm restricting to n cube. All the instances lying between 0 and 1. Why? To make the problem easier again. So first claim, so claim 1. So I have to prove that all these input instances that will be reaching node L, leaf node L, giving an S, should belong to region L. This region is connected. This is my claim 1. So I have to prove that R of L is connected. So how? What is connected? What does connected mean? So given a space, any 2 points in region R are said to be connected if the path going to those 2 points, the path can be anything. The path also belongs to the region R. So this is what connected means. So this is not connected because this doesn't belong to region R. Now I am reducing this again to convex. What is convex? It's simple, the same theory, but the path will be a straight line. So the straight line should go to the region R. this is connected, this is convex and also connected. These are not convex, these are not connected. So I am reducing this to convex. So I'm going to prove that R of L for convex, so it can be, once it is convex, it is connected. So it's just a special case. Again, to make it easy, I'm just going to prove it's for the convex. So I need to prove that, I need to show that any instance that belongs to R of L, that reaches node L, will belong to R of L, and hence it's connected. All the points in that will be connected. So the pictorial representation will be like, so this will be root node, so the child nodes, and let this reach the leaf node L. So at the root node, any instance can be passed. Any instance can reach the root node. But to reach this node, there will be a condition, any condition. Let us define this, the condition for this branching will be less than. So similarly for this branch it can be equal to or greater than anything. So any instance xi, let the label for this root will be ij. So for this particular root node, any instance can be reached. For any instance xi, x can be reached. To reach this node, it should satisfy the condition xi is less than xj. So only those which will satisfy this condition will reach this node. Again, similarly, which will satisfy the branching condition at this node will reach this node. So it will be going to the leaf node L. So now when I say xi belongs to R of L, that means that I know that x satisfies this condition or any condition of that branch. So I'm going to assume that for xi, for instance x, L is reached. Similarly for instance y, L is reached. Execution 2. For execution 3, I'm going to define a point z with coordinates on zn with instances. So I'm going to define this z as zi as a function of xi and yi, average of xi and yi. So when lambda is 0, zi will be yi. When lambda is equal to 1, zi will be xi. When lambda is equal to half, zi will be xi plus yi by 2, which is average. So I'm defining the zi as a function of xi and yi. So I can say that when the branching, when the execution 1, when it goes in the same branch and execution 2 goes in the same branch, I know that xi is less than xj. The condition is satisfied. Similarly for branching execution 2, I can say that yi is less than yj. Now I'm going to multiply lambda on both sides and lambda minus 1 on both sides of RHS and lambda on the right LHS, and I'm going to sum this both. So it will be lambda of xi plus lambda of yi. Sorry. So it will be lambda of xi plus 1 minus lambda of yi. I'm going to multiply with lambda for one function and 1 minus lambda for other function. So lambda of this is less than, okay, so this is less than lambda of xj plus 1 minus lambda of yj. So lambda of xi plus 1 minus lambda of yi is nothing but zi is less than lambda of xj plus 1 minus lambda of yj will nothing be but zj. So this is proved. So when I know that Z satisfies this condition, then the branching will go in the same direction, which means it will take the same branch, negative, this less than branch, same as execution 1 and 2. So from this, I can say that Z reaches node L, and so R of L is convex. It is in fact connected. So claim 1 is proved. So for claim 2, I'm taking 2 points as I defined in the previous slide. So I'm going to take 2 points, capital X, x1 and x2 and so on, xn, and y is the permutation of x, y1, y2 and so on, yn. For any instance xi and yi, they should reach the node S, but they should reach distinct S nodes. That means x should reach L1, it should be an S again, and y should reach L2, it should be an S again. Why are we doing this? Why should they reach two distinct nodes? So when we show that for two instances, if there are two different leaves, two different S leaves, we can prove that we can extend that to another instance Z. If that reaches another leaf L3, I can show this for n factorial leaves. To show that n factorial leaves will reach S nodes, I am doing this thing. So here x and y should reach different S nodes. How am I going to prove that? Instead, I'm going to prove by contradiction. So if x and y reach the same L, then x comma y belongs to R of L, which means R of L is connected. So there should be a path P in R of L that will go through x comma y. So example x, y. So this is the path P in the region R of L. So I am going to take a point Z that belongs to path P, where the answer for Z will be no. Here the answer for is x and y are S. So anything that belongs on this point should be an S. I am showing that for Z the answer will be no, which is a contradiction. It should be an S, but I'm saying that it's a no. So this is how I'm going to prove by contradiction. So to prove claim 2, I'm taking a subclaim where there exist the values I and j such that x of I is less than x of j, while y of I is greater than y of j. To show this, I'm defining a function fw, wy minus wj. So for f of x, the value will be less than 0 since xi is less than xj. For f of y, the value will be greater than 0 since yi is greater than y of j. So I'm going to prove for I is less than j, pi of xi is less than pi of xj. Instead of proving for this one, I'm proving for this one. What is pi of xi and xj? So here I'm defining this thing. All these points are in decimal points. All these values are in decimal points. I just simply wrote the values. So this is the value. This is the x values, the y values. So this is the permutation of x. This is the permutation of x. So I'm writing the x in a sorted order. So this function is the x is the sorted order. These values are sorted from this. So how I'm sorting this one? So for 2, here for 2, the permutation of 2 is 2 here. So I'm simply writing 2 below this. So again for 9, the value for y is 5. For 9, it's 5. So similarly, I'm rearranging these values here. So this is an increasing order. This pi of x is an increasing order because it is sorted. And pi of y, this can't be increasing. Why? Since it is increasing, permutation, this is the permutation, right? This is the permutation of this value. Permutation can't be, once it is increasing, so another permutation can't be increasing. So I know this can't be increasing. So I don't write there exists I comma j such that for I less than equal to j, pi of yi is greater than pi of yj. So this is what I got from this observation, and this one from this order. So this is how I arranged the array. So I know this one. So now I know pi of xi is less than pi of yj. Here I know pi of yi is greater than pi of yj. So from this I'm mapping back to I comma j, xi comma xj, and yi comma yj. I'm simply mapping in mapping. So using this one, I'm proving the subclaim for this, and using this subclaim, I'm proving claim 2. So claim 2 is contradiction proved by contradiction. So finally, x comma y can't reach the same leaf node L, so they must reach different distinct leaf nodes L1 and L2, giving an S answers. So when they are reaching two leaves or reaching two different leaf nodes, I can say that there must be there must be n factorial leaves. The number of S leaves must be greater than or equal to n factorial. I can say this from claim 2. So for claim 3, when I have n factorial leaf nodes, the time taken will be n log n. So this is how I proved the time taken for solving element distinctiveness problem will be n log n. So I proved the lower bound for element distinctiveness problem to be n log n using these references. Thank you.